Let me see if this thing's on.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our 7 o'clock SAGA session. We're going to be starting up in just a moment while we figure out some tech stuff and make sure that we are in fact on and live and all of that. And so that we can see ourselves and see how silly we look. I hope everybody's doing well. And that you're getting ready.
Live. Are we live?
I'm assuming we're live. And that you're getting ready for some...
We're live.
Good content and a fun time. We're going to be starting up in just a moment. And that is my boss.
Alright, so, good. So we're up.
Yeah.
Don't know who's here yet. Okay, we got one person. Becca's joined us. Hey, Becca.
Hey, Becca.
Now, and Logan's here.
Hey, Logan.
This feed that we currently have is at least 30 seconds behind, so
Yeah.
I'm going to reset it one time and see what happens.
That's how it was for me before. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes it catches up. That's a lot better.
Cool.
Don't know who's here yet. That's not that much better. Alright, so, let's shut this door just a bit. Bright's magical room. Great. Alright, just a bit. I shut it all the way. Great. So once that catches up, we'll get started. So, of course Becca's here. Becca, we're glad you're here. Why are you dotting that?
We are happy that you were here, Becca. We love you.
This is so far behind.
Logan, you're okay.
But I like the framing, so we'll be good with that for now. I'm going to move the tablet a little bit more out of the shot. That way I can kind of watch it as we go. So, hi, for anybody that's here and is joining us that hasn't actually ever trained with us before, because we did start posting this around Facebook. We decided to just kind of make it available to a couple of different people that we do or do not know, because
we're spreading the joy.
We're spreading the joy
instead of anything.
The joy instead nothing else. We're only spreading joy. So we really want everybody that comes into our home that can to be able to join us for fun, and that's really what the mission is today. Quick backstory. Abra and I started building SAGA Action Arts around two and a half years ago.
At least 2.5.
2.5 years ago, as a build out of DC Stunt Coalition, where we could actually formalize our own curriculum. We first kind of premiered it when we went to Russian House in the Philippines with Grandmaster Felix Cortez. And we traveled around wearing SAGA shirts that I got printed out the night before for like $100 a piece or something like that. So we wanted, not the best shirts, but a rush job nonetheless. We wanted to make sure that when we got out there, we were able to I could have photoshopped the word into my shirts, but I really just wanted people to know that Abra and I were trying to create something. And what we've been trying to create is a system and a style that merges our love for performing arts and real martial arts. So whether that's traditional martial arts or reality-based self-defense or combat sports, we have elements of each of those in there. I love to pull from Savat, Abra loves to pull from Krav Maga,
and Muay
Thai.
And we both like to pull from Jeet Kune Do.
And Filipino martial arts. So, all that being said, tonight we're going to go through some of the basics of our curriculum. When it comes to the first thing that we're going to do called Action Flow, we're going to be pulling from a lot of different backgrounds, whether that includes our stunt work training. Both of us are now alumni of Six Flags America, so we both have live stunt show experience on our resume and under our belts. I am a professional SAG-AFTRA stunt performer. I just worked, was it just last week?
Yes, it was.
Just last week I got to work on Blue Bloods for Roy Farfel. Thanks, Roy, if you're watching this.
Hey, Roy.
Yeah,
it's good to meet you, Roy.
Abra came out and hustled. It's a great job. It's a lot of fun. When we decide to build SAGA, we're not out here training people to be stunt performers. We're just taking a lot of different skills that we've learned in stage combat, stunt work, and martial arts, and putting them all together into a system that we think can help you become your own version of your own action hero. It's very open source. We have our guideline curriculum, but the goal is for you to explore it and grow with it and not feel like you're chained down to any traditional material or any looming pedagogy. It's really about you learning how you work and then designing your version of how cool you can be. So just have fun with it. If you can keep up with us tonight, that's great. If it's a little bit difficult, no worries. Obviously, we can't see you, so we're not going to be judging you. But even then, if you're just trying to do anything, we're excited. So whether you want to actually participate physically, or if you just want to sit back with some popcorn or some
don't do that.
fruit roll-ups or something, no, you can. It's totally cool.
You shouldn't.
You're going to shame people for wanting to sit down and watch us act like clowns for an hour.
Yeah, get up and do something. Move around.
No, that's your choice. But regardless of that,
Regardless
of that, we're going to go through our 3 main pillar curriculums and add a little bit of the 4th, one of those bonus pillars. So the first 3 curriculums are going to be action flow, striking arts, which will be focusing on the S series, SAGA 9 weapons, which will be focusing on SAGA 9 stick, and then we'll be focusing on our CQC series with a little bit of knife work if we get through all this in enough time. So Brett, our producer, is behind the phone, and he should probably be checking the time for us every 10 minutes to be like, just tell us when it's been 10 minutes on a certain topic, and since we've only got 4 to go through, we should be good. By the end of the curriculum, we'll also be doing a very... Matt kind of fell over, that was creepy. Well, no, it's fine. I don't think it's in the shot. So at the end of the curriculum, we'll take a break. We'll do a little bit of Q&A. Please feel free to hit us up in the comments. Whether or not we're able to work with them right now, we absolutely will look at them later. If you have any questions about a specific thing at a specific time, you just got to get up and type something in. Totally helpful. We want your feedback. We also want to know how much fun you're having. There's no reason why this kind of training can't be fun. There's no pressure here. Let's just have a blast. So, with that said, we're going to get into the first piece of the curriculum, the action flow. Action flow is kind of defined as like vertical meets horizontal lateral movement. I like to think of it as spherical motion. Any way to move into and out of the ground or up in the air. It's basically your interaction with the environment. It starts with getting up and it ends up evolving into what's kind of like Jackie Chan combat parkour. So for the first move, we're going to break down something super duper simple. We're going to do what one of my training systems that I've been certified under called MoveNat refers to as a tripod get up. And Abra might also break down a Krav Maga combatives version of it called a tactical get up or technical.
It's both.
It's both. So first things first, we're both going to sit on the ground. Abra, why don't you face sideways and I'll face front ways, just so that they can see 2 perspectives at once. So we're going to just get on the ground. If you don't have a mat for this one, you should be okay. If you do have a mat, that's fine. We won't be using this mat for this whole training. Whatever you have available is great. Carpeted surface is really good. But for right now, as long as your wrists are comfortable, you should be able to do this on any surface. I'm going to put my hands right down underneath my shoulder sockets, not behind, not in front, right underneath. And I'm going to do what I refer to as activating. I'm just going to energize my arms and lift my tailbone up off the ground. And then we're going to lower it again. We're going to lift it up one more time, and then we're going to lower it again. And because apparently I don't understand the definition of one more time, we're going to do it a 3rd time and lift up off the ground and lower it again. That's step 1. It's really basic, but it's about energizing your back and your shoulders and your triceps to help lift you up off the ground, not working with your hips yet. From there, this one I just heard a noise. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg up, and reach across our body. You might want to go the other way.
You're right.
We're going to reach across our body, put our hand on the ground, and put our other foot on the ground outside, almost in like a sumo position, big wide leg, and then we're going to hip hinge and raise up. Hands come back down. You're going to raise, if you're in the position that I am, you're going to raise the left hand up, kick the right foot through, place it on the ground, put the hand down, and lower yourself. So hopefully we have enough room to really show this. You need to spread out just a little bit. You're good right there. Activate. Foot comes up, hand comes up, so now you've got one of each. Turn through, foot plants to the ground, hand comes down, raise up with a very deadlift hip hinge. Lower yourself back down, turn through, hand and foot touch the ground, 4-point base, lower yourself down. This is important because we want to be able to get up with a structure. We're not trying to just like scramble up and throw our body out of proportion. What we want to do is we want to apply some proper biomechanics where we actually use what MoveNet calls a base of support to load our body before we activate the hip hinge. And then of course when we go back down, we can slowly get back down. So if I want to do this and get up nice and quick, I'll just demo this one and then we'll get to you doing the tactical get up. I come up, I flip over, plant my feet and come up. I come down, I plant my foot, and I lower. I could do it the other way with one arm. Keep my guard up. Abra will be talking about that in a second. But what's really important here is this base and this hip hinge. Just like a deadlift. I'm tabletop flat with my back, and then I'm pushing with my glutes to come up. I'm not using my knees as much, and I'm not using my upper body as much. I'm pushing right through the hip hinge so that I can get low to the ground smoothly and safely and transition out and come back up. So Abra, why don't you explain the version of it known as the tactical or technical get up and explain the combative little elements that you can incorporate into it.
Okay, so when I train the technical or tactical get-ups, I usually like to start from actually being on my back. And the idea is that you've been taken to the ground in some way. You may have fallen, you may have been kicked or pushed or something. Either way, you're on the ground, you may be able to do some kind of great fall of some sort. What I like to do a lot is once I'm there, I like to do a kick. Just kind of kick from, I want to stabilize on the foot that's down. So in this case, it's going to be my left. And then I'm just going to push my hips up and kick up to presumably get an attacker to back off while I am trying to get up. So I'm going to kick. I'm going to come up. My guard will be up. The foot that just kicked is going to swing behind me. So I'm down here. It's going to swing behind me. And at that same time, I'm going to try and slide myself back and get to my feet and have my guard up.
Abra, can you show us that from a sideways profile?
Yes, I can.
It's really cool. I really love the different way that you're breaking it down for me. So go ahead and do the breakdown again.
All right. So again, I'm on my back. I've been pushed to the ground or kicked to the ground or what have you. And some attacker is approaching me. Dylan's approaching me.
Aha!
I'm going to kick up to get him to back off.
I have backed off.
And if I want, I can also throw in another kick here to his shin.
Ow, ow,
and so I'm posting out.
Ow.
This foot that just kicked is swinging behind me.
So she's created some distance from this person.
Yes, and then, so also when I'm, go back to that position. Once I'm down here, I have same hand and same side, or same leg and same side hand. That hand is the one that is posting.
Mm-hmm.
From here, and again, my guard is up. From here.
So your guard is up so that if this person reaches out, you're covered.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I want to make sure.
Or even if they throw their own kick, you're
Yeah.
covered.
And I don't want to be bending forward.
Aha!
I
Grab
don't
you by
do
the
that.
head.
When I get up, I don't want to get up this way.
Aha!
Into that
Really
person.
got you.
What I want to do is, again, post that hand, have my guard up, take that leg, swing it behind me. While I'm swinging it behind me, I want to create distance so I can kind of push back.
So show that little foot shuffle piece to the end of it. This part's really cool. When she does this dynamically, watch this foot shuffle back.
It's just a tiny movement, but you want to try to sweep that back with you.
Yeah, so even if she's here, and let's say I start from the push and you go straight to flat back, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
So I push her, boom, she goes straight to flat back, I'm coming in, she kicks to keep me away, she kicks to keep me away, she's out of distance, she's ready to deliver a counter kick, a punch, whatever. If she goes into like Jeet Kune Do, she could do 5, yeah.
You want to do, okay.
Yeah, 5. Well, you can do it with the Buji though, you know? Which we'll talk about when we get to S series. That's really cool. So that's 2 get-ups. Brett, how far are we into the video?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. All right, so we've got 3 minutes left for action flow.
Yay.
That's great. So quick review. Tripod get up for MoveNet. This is basic biomechanics. I activate. You should keep these kind of terms in mind even when you're doing the tactical get up. It's how you recruit your body for the movement that you need to do. I'm going to crunch elbow and knee so I can turn through. Put the heel down. I'll do it from this side. I put the heel down, not the toe. If I put the toe down, then I'm pushing up through the knee. If I put the heel down, then all of a sudden I'm activating the hip hinge. Hip hinge brings you up, hip hinge brings you down. If I want to kick back through with this leg, I would turn that out and lower myself. I can do it with one arm or I can do it with two arms.
I would recommend working both sides.
Obviously work both sides. I mean, not obviously, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Some people do, some people
Well,
don't.
no, we're both proponents of being ambidextrous, not actual ambidexterity, but training with ambidexterity in mind. You have two sides. Use them as much as you feel comfortable. If one side just doesn't work for you, do what you can with it, but don't stress. Go to your tactical get up and we'll move on to the next move.
On that note, I'm going to do it now with my left. So, kick. Again, you're on your back. You are pushing up on that base leg. Your hip is coming up while you're also kicking out. You're coming up. Your knee is still bent. You might be kicking again. You're posting on the same side. You're swinging that leg back and coming up.
All right. So real quick, I'm going to do 3 of mine without any explanation, just so that they can see what it looks like. Let it just curve through, try and figure out how that worked. All right, and then Abra, you just do 3 of yours quick without any explanation, just to show what it looks like.
4 of mine, actually, it's like both sides.
All right, but we don't have a lot of time.
No, we don't.
Cool. We're going to move along. We don't have a lot of other time for a lot of other moves today because we actually kind of just jumped into this. So let's throw in the sweep. We like to use a sweep as a big training tool from going from standing to lower to the ground. There's a lot of complex movements in here and we can break them down later, but this is kind of like a sample beginning sort of session. So I'll have Abra demonstrate the sweep first. Are you going to start by stepping on your right leg or your left leg?
Left leg.
Okay. It's going to make it hard for me, so I'll do the right leg.
Okay.
All right, so Abra's going to step with her left leg.
I'm going to step at a bit of an angle. I'm imagining there's an opponent here, or somebody I'm kicking. I'm stepping outside of them. I'm lowering my knee, in this case my left. I can post if I want, I don't have to. Just depends on the person right now. I'm going to post. I'm going to turn and spot, and then I'm going to kick. From there, I'm in this S-sit position. I'm going to come up onto, I'm going to push my hip forward and come up onto this knee, swing my back leg up, unhinge my new back leg, and come up. That was a lot of steps, but still.
You guys hearing anything in the background? Can you just knock on? It's okay. Yeah, alright. Alright, anyways, back to work. So, we are, of course, just like everybody else doing this. No, you're good. We just the phone's right there.
Oh, okay.
It's just a hair. Sorry, dude. Alright, so,
Appreciate you, Dash.
yes, we'll get back into that. That's Dash. He's amazing, and he's our roommate. He's also like our #1 like personal trainer buddy. He's the guy that really knows how to make the body look strong and feel strong. We just kind of like move it around a lot right now. Well, okay, Abra makes it look strong.
You know what?
I chill and then talk like Mr. Rogers, Bob Ross guy in the morning, so. Anyways, back at it. So now we're going to just talk about like a little bit, real quick. We're going to try and get through this section. Brett, how much time do we have left?
I thought we started on the next topic.
We're already on the next topic. Great. All right. Anyways, we're going to step forward, lower ourselves to the ground. I like to make a clear point when doing the sweep that the high knee goes down to the ground. So that we don't really want to just like slam down super hard. It can either curve in, or if it does go down forward, we're going to have to sort of settle into it with the hips. But in this case, I like to curve into it so that I can spin, lower myself to the ground and post that hand. I'm going to always spot to where I'm about to go. Then this leg is going to come out. And I'm going to end up in what I call a sit posture. And Albert just described that. I really love what she decided to kind of come up with for how to get up out of it, where she's raising the hips forward, stepping with the rear leg, swinging the foot out and coming up. That's also the same way that you might get out of a forward roll to stand up. So, for instance, if Abra wants to demo this towards me, let's take a step back just so that we have the space. I'm going to just jump over the foot. So she steps through, lowers herself to the ground, puts her hands down, swings, and then jump over. She swept through, she steps up. You can go step through all the way. Alright? Step through there.
Yeah.
So now I'm targeting her. I'm going to take my right leg, that's my lead leg in this situation. I'm going to step forward, spin it down, lower myself to the ground, put my hand down. I'm spotting first head, then leg, then foot. Comes out. I'm in my sit, I raise up, and I step forward towards her. So she can do it again if she wants. Take a step back there so that they can see it from another angle. She steps across with her left. She turns and sweeps. And then she steps through. Step through.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're not going to the S. Do it again.
Yeah, no, they...
Let's see what it looks like. I like what you're doing. I don't have a problem with it. She sweeps through. She goes all the way to S. And then she steps back through and comes up. These are just training movements. We're not trying to put these into necessarily a combative context just yet. We're really just focusing on body mechanics and flow. So again, the big sense here, can I have the space for just 1 second?
Yeah.
Is that action flow really is about coming from a standing position or even coming from a jumping position and creating a transition of verticality that also allows us to go from down to up and up to down. With that being said, those are two kind of core techniques that we're able to go through with action flow. But I think in the interest of keeping this video moderately on time, we're going to move on to the next series of training, which is going to be the S series of training with our striking arts curriculum. So take a second if you need to grab a sip of water, or if you want to leave some comments, if you have any questions or thoughts, or something you want to learn about later while we move the mat and we get ready for S series. Just feel free to drop in, give us a little bit of a chat. Also, you'll be doing us a huge favor if you take this live video and you share it to your timeline with all your friends and let them know, hey, I'm jumping in on this free online class and I want to let you know it's happening, so why don't you check it out? This is the cool thing that I want to play with and I invite you to join. You don't have to say that verbatim. Say your own version of it. Again, it's your story. So,
how about that?
I'm going to move this mat. Yeah. It took slightly less effort than I expected. Alright, and then why don't we just glove up for the fun of it? Or how about you glove up and I'll do the feeding first. You can put on your new fun... Wait, where's your...
Do you want me to... Okay, how about...
I don't know, yeah. You figure it out.
I will.
I'm gonna get the nets. I'm gonna check the Facebook time. Yes, we are. Not a problem, though. What do you mean, not a problem, Logan? What are you saying, Logan?
Yes, you are what?
Is Logan awesome? I don't know if Logan's awesome. Logan is awesome, though. I think Logan's awesome. Alright.
He was talking about the sound.
Oh.
Oh, what about the sound?
That they were hearing something.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Alright, so we've got 5 friends joining us right now. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat right now.
Thanks, friends.
Yeah, we're really happy to see you here at SAGA Studios. We just kind of renovated our basement. It's also still in the process. And we just wanted to use it as a spot to share what we do with everybody because we can't really go to Ludlow Fitness right now.
No.
Ludlow Fitness, an amazing gym on the Lower East Side that once this whole thing blows over, will hopefully be back open, and that's where SAGA Action Arts usually takes place, but for now we're hosting it here in our apartment in Brooklyn. So, S Series. S Series is our strike series. It's our basic kickboxing curriculum. It can be turned into a lot of different things, but today what we're going to do for everybody out there, some of you already know this, and we'll break down some ways that you can self-train on your own, but for anybody that doesn't know what it is, we're going to go through numbers 1 through 6. We have 9 combinations in the strike series. These are really basic combinations that help train your body to throw different combat sports and even real-world application-based combinations in kickboxing. They also really help for performing artists because they focus on a major piece that needs to be in both stage and screen combat, the hips and the pivot. So let's talk about that relationship as we go. but we're going to start with combination number 1. Combination number 1 is Abra will throw a jab, and then she will throw a rear roundhouse kick. We don't care necessarily what kind of roundhouse kick it is, but when we define a roundhouse kick, it's a lateral kick that comes from the outside and extends in. The version that Abra's throwing right now is pretty much a fouette from Savate. When she throws the jab, it's a lead punch. So lead means lead hand, lead foot. Her first combination, the combination 1, is your lead punch and your rear kick, so it's going across the body. Now do it with even less footwork. Jab, kick, boom. So one more time, combo number 1, jab, kick. Combo number 2, we're going to go through the principles soon, but let's just go through the combo so that you get the idea. Combo number 2, cross, lead kick. So she goes again, she's firing her cross, which is her rear punch, and she's firing her lead kick, which is her front leg. In order to do so, she's going to skip into it. Boom. And she skips back.
I did. Yes.
Cross, lead kick. Boom. Very nice. This is setting you up for a whole extra vocabulary of footwork with these skipping roundhouse kicks. Now, one of the really cool things we want to talk about is what do 1 and 2 do for you? Well, it's your upper body tool. Your jab is number 1.
Bye-bye.
Your jab is number 1 with your upper body tool, followed by your lower body tool, boom. And that is a combination that's coming from your upper left side, if you're in an orthodox lead, to your lower right side. So it's going completely across your body, or what we refer to as contralateral, which is a terminology that I got from MoveNat. The upper body tool, lower body tool is a terminology that I got from Dr. Brian Stoops. Number 2 is the inverse of 1. It's your rear hand followed by your lead kick. So now let's talk about 3 and 4. And yes, we are going to provide time for you guys to do reps along with us. We're just talking through the tools first. Your lower body tool, your rear kick, to your upper body tool, your jab, is number 3. So number 3 is rear kick, jab, rear kick, jab, rear kick, jab. Combination number 4, lower body tool is going to be your lead kick, followed by your upper body tool, which is your cross. The foot comes down and you fire that cross. So let's see, lead kick, cross, lead kick, cross. And one more time, lead kick, cross. Hey, I said one more time and I meant one more time.
Oh my God.
So 3 and 4 are the inverse of 1 and 2. They're still contralateral, but they're first lower body tool, your legs,
Yes.
followed by upper body tool. So like your legs, followed by your hands. Whereas the first 2 combinations are your upper body tool, your hands, followed by your legs. Make sense? We hope it does. So here's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to throw on some gloves. If you don't have a partner, totally okay. By the way, if you do have somebody that you can work with, please invite them. If they're in your house and it's safe and everything's good, please invite them to work with you. They don't have to, but extend the invite.
If you don't have a partner, you can shadow box it. You can also use a punching bag if you have something like that. Anything that you can, I mean, you can have with our mats.
Yeah, our mats. I also, not with the idea of punching or kicking a wall, but you can use a wall as a as a reference point target. You don't necessarily want to use it as a hard target. Don't be like that kid in that Muay Thai video that has like the pillow on the banister for the stairs, and he kicks it once and then it falls off and he throws the.
I've been there.
I watched that video with the sound off and it hurt. So, Abra's going to work with me now. We're going to use our hands as mitts because we're both wearing gloves. It's pretty safe. So she's going to fire combination number 1. And she's going to do that 4 times. 1, 1, 1, and 1. There was actually a guard on the last one. I was already running to the next thing. Now she's going to fire combination number 2. So try your best to keep up with this. 2. So that's combination number 2. That's your cross to your lead leg kick. So we're going to do that 4 more times. 2, 2, 2, and 2. Notice the rotation on her hips. When she fires that cross, she pivots in. When she fires that kick, she pivots back out. Hold your guard up and show it to them all the way through super slow motion. Cross, kick. Great. Good. So what really you want to focus on is the the rotation of the torso. So now for technique number 3, she's going to give us her lower body tool, her rear leg kick, and she's going to follow it up with her jab. So 3, 3, 3, and 3. Alright, so you get 5 reps out of each, right? That's the plan we're going with for right now. For the next tool, or for the next combo, she's going to go with her lower body tool in the lead, her upper body tool in the rear. So this is going to be number 4. So show me lead kick, cross. So we're going to do that lead kick to cross 4 more times. 4, 4, 4, and 4. You do not have to go at this pace, but it's a nice little kickboxy sort of pace. It's a good way to just get yourself moving.
Getting used to it. As a note,
Yes.
remember to keep your hands up when throwing the combos.
Yeah, you want to start building that unconscious hand guard. If you watch my morning routine video, when I talk about my Sabat leg training, I keep my unconscious hand guard up. It's going to apply to this, especially coming out later. We're at 7 minutes, so we're going to break down 2 more combos. We're going to break down combo 5. Combo 5 is your lead punch followed by your lead kick. So it's your lead upper body tool followed by your lead lower body tool. So Abra is going to throw her punch and she's going to skip right into her kick. And then she's going to go back from it. So punch to kick and go right back. Watch the skipping footwork. That's really cool. That's going to help you build your range awareness later on. Do we have space to come a little bit closer so that we can see what we look like? Yeah, okay. Stand right there anyways. Alright. The main reason is that we're going to move in and out of frame because this is a long one. So let's take a step back. Show me number 5 one more time. Kick, kick. Notice how for me to block that I have to settle back because if I don't, she throws that kick, I'm right here and the technique no longer works.
I could make it a Muay Thai kick.
You could make it a Muay Thai kick. What we're training right now is the full expression of the move, which is going to be really helpful for both stage and screen combat. You want to be able to train full expression so that you can train it. It's the same thing as show and go in stage combat. It's about creating that sort of perfect range where I know what I'm going to touch with what I'm going to touch so that when she blocks it, it looks like something happened as opposed to nothing. Well, okay, that wasn't that bad,
Yeah.
but like nothing really happened there. It's too crunched up. So, number 6. Let's talk about number 6. Abra's going to throw her cross, followed by her rear leg. So it's her upper body tool, rear, followed by her lower body tool, rear. So what you'll see is that there will be this cool little chain reaction from her hip. When she fires that punch, she just follows it with the hip drive. So you can step over here a little bit.
Try not to reset after the cross. The idea is that the cross is driving the kick. So you're not going cross, kick.
So do that. Cross, kick. You can practice that way to start just to get the number in, but what you really want to train is that chain extension. So she fires that punch and then, see how she's holding it out now? There's kind of a third option. She can retract it as she fires the kick. She can retract it back to her guard. So she fires the punch, boom, boom. So, 5, jab, lead, 6, cross, rear. 5 is jab, lead, 6 is cross, rear. Let's take the whole combination, and I'll do it on my side. I was going to say we could switch positions, but why don't you feed it to me?
I can feed it to you.
Alright, so Abra's going to feed me 5 number 1s. So if you want to see it from this side, watch my body go. Again, I'm also in a left lead. I could be in a southpaw lead. We're going to train this in orthodox for now, which is your left foot forward. Let's do it slightly at this angle. Alright, so we're going to finish this up. So, Abra, tell me what to do.
You're going to throw 1.
So my jab, my rear leg.
Really? Yeah, I'm going to catch it.
Alright.
Go a little higher.
Alright.
1. 1. 1. 1. And one more 1. Yes.
Alright.
Alright, now we're going to do number 2.
Alright. Call it out for me.
2. 2. 2. 2. Nice.
Oh, okay.
Ready for 3?
This is why I don't teach the conditioning workouts. All right, yeah, so what's 3?
You need it. 3 is going to be your rear leg and your jab.
All right. So call it out.
Yep, 3. 3. 3. 3. One more 3. Nice. 4.
All right.
4 is your lead leg and your cross.
All right, let's do it.
4. 4. 4. 4. 4. One more 4. Nice. All right, now we're going into ipsilateral territory. So,
Same
5.
side tools.
Same side tools. 5 is his jab and lead leg. Basically just chasing me down.
All right.
All right, 5. 5.
Doesn't really take much for me to chase you.
You know
down.
what? Fine.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and you're Bruce Lee.
Take a comparison.
Fair
5.
enough. Jamie's gonna love that.
5. One more 5. One more 5. Nice.
All right.
All right.
That's one. That's one.
6 is again that cross with that rear leg. Yes.
All right.
6. 6. 6. 6. 6. One more 6. Nice. All right. And now that is all 6.
That's it. So this is the really basic version of it. You can absolutely shadow box them. We have 3 more combinations that we'd love to teach you, but for today, we don't have all the time in the world. Okay, we kind of do, but we want to try and keep the idea of a schedule present. We don't want to turn this into the binge watch-episode of Saga Action Arts. So
Later.
we're moving on. Was that 3:03?
13.
13. Okay, 13 minutes. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm breaking a bit of a sweat. Abra's breaking a lot of
Always
sweat.
breaking the sweat.
So anyways, what we wanted to do is just show you guys a little piece of the curriculum. Eventually what S-Series can kind of become, just as a preview. If Abra throws her 1 at me, I'm defending. She throws her 2 at me. I'm defending. She throws her 3 at me. I'm defending. She throws her 4 at me. And she throws her 5 at me. It's all about actually giving them the feed so that I can defend it. That's a sneak peek. We will be going into that in future videos. That is where the actual secret of the S-Series kind of lives for performing artists and also for combat sports enthusiasts. So, with that said, let's take the gloves off.
You having trouble there?
No, I'm just having fun. We're going to take a short breather. If Abra wants to drink some water, I think I left mine upstairs. It's okay, you got yours?
Do you want
No. And we're going to check the comments and see if anybody's talking to us. Hey, everybody. Hey, Joseph Del Guste. I don't know who you are, but thank you for joining us. It's good to have you here. Nice, 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 nice. We got 4 people to play with. Again, please be sure that to help us out, if you take this video and you share it on your own page, if you share it on your own timeline, if you let your friends know that you're watching it or you send them a link to it, we would love people to just jump in. This video will be available later for anybody that wants to learn from it. We'll be uploading it to both YouTube and to our Facebook page. We'll also be uploading clips to our IGTV channel on Instagram, saga_action_arts. So, with that said, it's time to play with the stick. So, you might ask me, I do not have a stick at home. I'm sure you have something. Whether it's a vacuum cleaner tube of some sort, or a cardboard tube like the Cardboard Tube Samurai, a broom handle that you're just angry and you just snap it off because why not, or like a bow staff that you just snap in half and it becomes 2 sticks because that's in every piece of choreography ever. Even if you have a prop toy lightsaber, and I mean like even a toy one, like the ones that they sell for like 5-year-olds that you just, and they come out, those are all good. If you have an Eskrima Kali Arnis stick, also known as like a baston.
See, as a note, I also, when I was first learning FMA and I did not have any sticks, what I did was I took my drumsticks and I played with those. Not the same length, but so you get the same idea. So you can be creative.
You could literally, if you had to, use a paper towel roll. We're not worried about that. We're just using the stick to kind of train some lines of attack. And that's going to also help inform some biomechanics that really help for weapons choreography. So, with that said, what we're going to be teaching you is we're going to be teaching you the We're going to be teaching you the SAGA 9 weapons template, focusing on the stick as the weapon that you're going to be developing the attributes for. So, the first thing I'm going to do is, Abra, why don't you face the wall and stand a little bit further ahead of me?
Okay.
Face that wall. Great.
Face the corner.
I'm going to face this. Yes, face the corner. Somebody's putting Abra in the corner. Take one step to that side. Great. Whether you want to watch it from behind, you won't really be able to mirror me unless this footage is in reverse, which I don't think it is. Or you can just be the Abra following along with me, so you can treat it like a Connect game and kind of fill in her outline. What we're going to do is we're going to first take the stick and raise it above our hand. It's in our right hand for now. We're going to raise it above our head. Or touch the ceiling. And we're going to step out with the same foot. So in this case, with the weapons series, we're actually going to start training in a right lead. It's going to be a little bit confusing considering we just did a left lead for our kickboxing, but think of it as a way to balance yourself out. Now, what I'm going to do, because I have my left foot forward and my left hand forward, I have my right foot forward and my right hand forward. I'm going to take my left hand and bring it up to guard my face. I can have an open hand, I can have a closed fist, whatever works. Just have it up here as a little bit of boxing guard. What I like to do now is I like to take the tip of the stick and drape it on my shoulder so that the puño is pointing towards wherever I'm supposed to be going. The puño is the butt of a stick in Filipino martial arts. And also now I can flex my biceps if I want to have that nice little muscular look. It's just for funsies, but it also makes you look good. So, my right foot, my lead foot, is going to pivot. And as it pivots, I'm going to fire what's called angle 1 in our system. It's angle 1 in most systems, actually. It's from my right shoulder to my left hip. So I pivot and I fire angle 1. I'm keeping the tip of the stick forward, just for now, but eventually it'll loop through. Even so, when I pivot and fire it, I want to start with the tip pointed forward as much as possible. I'm not trying to break at the wrist. I'm trying to use a hammer structure to my wrist, this little 90-degree structure, to both fire the forearm muscle, because if I hold it tight like that, my forearm muscle is nice and strong, and it's actually going to help with grip strength and weapons retention. And it's also going to integrate better into my hip swivel. Because if I'm just letting it go like that, I'm not really going to be getting the body power behind the weapon, which is also going to limit the speed that I have when attacking with it. So angle 1, I pivot and I drop it to my rear hip. Angle 2, I'm going to raise my hand up, flip the stick back behind me, pivot back out the other way, and drop it from my left shoulder to my right hip. So let's just go with 1 to 2. Angle 1 is right shoulder, drop it down to left hip, raise it up, flip it over. Angle 2 is left shoulder to right hip. Raise it up, 1, raise, 2. 1, up, 2. Raise, 1, up, 2. So when I raise, I can either put it on my shoulder or I can have it point forward. I'm just going to end up turning my wrist, but we can talk about wrist rotations later. If you did want to just do this as just the lines themselves, 1, 2. It's just a big X. I can take a baseball bat, big X. That was kind of crappy looking X. Big X. It really helps to create that line by having your body. I'll share behind it. I'll share the diagram of the compass rose, but that's essentially what you're looking at. Maybe we'll put it on the wall for future videos. It's really easy to make, and it'll help you guys understand the combat geometry that we're going for. So, take a step in. If Abra was to throw angle 1 and I was to throw angle 1, we would meet in the middle. If she was to throw angle 2 and I was to throw angle 2, we'd meet in the middle. So this will actually be really helpful because she's a bit smaller than me. Take a step to your right, take a step back. All right, I throw angle 1, she throws angle 1. We intersect on the X. She throws angle 2, I throw angle 2, we intersect on an X. So if you're from the stage combat world, we're not placing the weapon, block it please. We're not placing, we're actually mostly skate cutting through for right now. These are our fluid strikes. We can do shorter broken strikes, just meet it. But even when we do that, we're still going to be meeting on an X rather than a cross. We'll talk about that later, and that will change depending on the angle that we fire. So, let's talk about angles 3 and 4. Angles 3 and 4 are upward cuts. It's our upward X. Angles 1 and 2 are our downward X. Angles 3 and 4 are upward X. So we don't even have to explain them as much in detail as we had to do for 1 and 2. 3, after we fired angle 2, is down here. Flip it out. It's almost like having a tail behind us. Take your lead foot, pivot it, and rise up that stick just like an uppercut. You get that nice little muscle beach shape. I know that in stage combat land, sometimes this is referred to as an ascending cut. I like that, because that's what it's doing. It's cutting on the ascent. I don't know what that was. Now what I'm going to do, to go to angle 4, is I'm going to lower the stick back down, flip that tail back behind me, holding that wrist nice and firm. I'm going to turn my lead foot, pivot out, and raise up for angle 4. So, lower to the hip, flip the tail behind me, should probably still have your guard up.
Yes.
Cut for angle 3. Lower it, flip it over, cut for angle 4. Let's go over a piece of terminology that I think really helps clear up what this is. Angle 1 is not from right to left, technically. What it technically is that it's from open, my arm is open, to closed. My arm is closed. It's not just my arm, it's my martial line. My center line is exposed here because my line is open. So if Abra wanted to poke me in the stomach, I have nothing in the way. If my line is closed, Abra could poke me in the stomach, my arm is in the way, it's not really an advantage. So if I really want to stop her from poking me in the stomach, I'm going to go from an open line to closing my line.
I couldn't poke in the stomach.
She couldn't poke me in the stomach. However, I could also go from a closed line to an open line.
Still gonna do it.
Why don't you poke me in the chest? That'll be a little bit closer. That way. So I'm closing the line on angle 2. My arm's already closed across my body, and it's opening to the other side of my body.
You want me to go?
Yep, go for that. Boop. I'm just moving it out of the way. The attribute will change depending on the weapon, but the line will usually remain the same. One last note to make about that is that what I'm saying is that if you are fighting left-handed, like a great eagle.
Yes, thank you.
Actually left-handed.
No, he's not.
He's not. Open line, closed line is angle 1. Closed line to open line is angle 2. So let's take these concepts, go through angles 1, 2, 3, and 4, add 5 and 6. We'll save 7, 8, and 9 for a later session. Angle 1, I'm open and I close. I raise it up to my other shoulder, flip it around. I'm going from closed to open for angle 2. For angle 3, I'm low down, I flip it open, and then I go from open to closed. For angle 4, I lower it down, I flip it over, and I go from closed to open. If we want to think about this directionally as if it were a compass rose, mostly following from Abra's perspective, this would be northeast. For angle 1 is northeast to southwest. For angle 2 is northwest to southeast. For angle 3 is southeast to northwest. And for angle 4 is southwest to northeast. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just bust out 5 reps of 1, 2, 3, 4. Join us with that if you can. You can literally use an empty hand if you got nothing else. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. And flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time. Flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. As a preview, 5 and 6, because we don't want to take too long. Once we finish with angle 4, we lower it to our hip height and flip it over. This is going to be a completely horizontal cut. It's going to be from east to west if it's on the compass rose. Just open to close on the martial line. So 5, if Abra just sweeps from my belly, is just your typical belly avoid. your belly cut. She's going right for the hip to hip line. Although in our system, 5 is just a line that's 180 degrees parallel to the ground. So technically she could go across my chest, or technically she could go across from my leg. Those are all still angle 5 because of the angle of attack, not because of the height. We're not worried about that in the system. Some systems like to say that this is a different angle than this. I think it's the same angle. I think your elevation is what changes. It's just my opinion, man. So if Abra was to fire number 5, open to close. If she was to fire number 6, close to open. We'll be talking about those in another video where we refer to them with the samurai sword tool and talk about that ninja slash, which I guess would be the ninja sword tool, but it could be a samurai sword tool. But we'll talk about that in the future. So angles 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be very important for what we're going to do last. But for now, we're going to move out of the stick sequence and we're going to go into the knife sequence.
Before we do that,
yes.
Just take 1 minute. If you do have a partner, I would say take 1 minute to work with them on doing the downwards and upwards X's. 1, 2, 3.
Are we talking about connecting them?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, Brett, do we have a little bit of time for this?
We're at 12 minutes.
All right, we got 1 minute for this.
About 1 minute.
If Abra and I meet at angle 1, we're meeting right in the middle. In our system, like Filipino martial arts, we are not standing outside and aiming, hold the stick out for the attack, fire angle 1 and hold it out. We are not aiming fort to foible because that would imply we're way out of distance. We want to be fighting as if we're trying to enter distance, and we're going to be using our skate cuts and our pivots to take our heads out of line. So what we're going to be aiming for is really right now mid-stick and mid-stick. And that pivot is actually going to retract us out of distance. When I flip it over to angle 2, that pivot is actually what's going to protect us. Same thing for angle 3, and then same thing for angle 4. Notice how we're pointing our tips almost directly at each other on line at the end of each strike. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you miss, just keep going. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And last one, 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as your body's moving, you're a little bit safer than if it wasn't. We'll talk more about that later, but that's an example of if you partner with somebody, you can just start practicing those moves, and we'll demo them with live footwork at another time. Speaking of live footwork, let's go into our last piece of curriculum. What is the time right now? 7:52, so we're actually doing okay.
Good, I think.
Yeah, we're way ahead of being behind, but that's all right.
Yes.
We need to get like our
Yeah,
rack
we need a
first.
rack. This one, I
Take this. We'll start with one knife. So, everybody take a break for 1 second. I'm going to look at the clock. JB, hey, what's up, buddy? Some sort of Letterkenny reference. You don't have to watch them.
I want to look. I want to.
Umbrella. Oh, Becca, you used an umbrella. I love it. Oh, Becca, we'll make sure you get a stick soon. We promise.
Yeah, it just got a little, yeah.
Actually, we will have somebody that we'll be ordering sticks from soon, and we'll talk about that by the end of this video. But look at this lovely knife from S&R Tactical.
S&R Tactical.
They make really cool training tools. You don't have to pick up yours.
I'm going to anyway. S&R Tactical.
They come in black or blue.
Is it just those colors?
I don't know right
They
now.
might come in other colors too.
We'll talk more about them later, but they are currently, potentially, and we're really excited to say, our weapon sponsors. I'm going to do a much better introduction for the IGTV video about that in a second, but let's talk about this real quick. So, Abra, if you put your knife down for a moment.
Put my S&R Tactical knife down.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to finish up today's class with SAGA CQC. SAGA CQC is my nerdy way of saying close quarters combat. Yes, I totally ripped the name out of the Metal Gear franchise because that's me in a nutshell. But we're not necessarily pulling from the Metal Gear curriculum. We're really pulling from a mix of different things. I believe in this series we're mostly pulling from Jeet Kune Do and FMA, primarily from a slightly progressive fighting systems Paul Vunak background, and we might be throwing a little bit of Krav energy in with a counterburst.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right to you.
Yes.
All right, cool. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to have Abra demonstrate the knife work first. We're going to be using relatively the same lines that we were using in 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to add 5 and 6 in here, But what we're going to be doing is we're not going to really just be talking about cutting with the knife. We're going to be talking about how to avoid the attack and how to start building up a range awareness. If you're working with a partner, try and do this safely. You can start out a distance and work your way closer if you need to. If you're working by yourself, you can either practice the offense side or the defense side. Again, if you don't have a prop knife, I'm sure you've got something lying around that's 6 to 12 inches long that you can totally use, that you've got in your home. So let's get started with the knife work. First off, Abra, if you can just face the camera and just show them 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the knife. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you notice, it's really no different than the stick. Just demo it a couple more times. The main difference between knife and stick is that the box is smaller, so she's not going to be moving as widely, and her arm is going to stay nice and strong. She's not whipping the tip back and forth. She's really just trying to cut to the center of the torso. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The next thing that I'm going to demonstrate is the first evasion. I'm going to start with my right foot forward just because this is kind of where we're going to be at in this situation. I could have both feet forward or I could have my left foot forward. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a high line fade or a high line dodge. Abra's going to start with her angle 1, and if she was to actually cut me, she'd be hitting me on the neck. If she was to cut me, she'd be hitting me on the neck. Even if she was to cut me and I was to defend, she'd be hitting me, no, you can go for the arm, she'd be hitting me on the arm. Now there's certain things I can do to counter it, like she could cut and I could enter in. We could talk about that later, but let's talk evasion first and countering before we do our defenses. A lot of times we will train the burst first, but I just thought this would be a fun thing to go through with these evasions because you can do them at home without a partner. You can just imagine it. So imagine someone's throwing an angle 1 at you and it stops. What do you got to get out of the way first? You got to get your head, neck, and chest out of the way. So she stops it right there. You don't have to touch me. She stops it because we're going into bullet time. I see it coming in and I move my head, chest, and neck out. And she fires it again, and it comes in, and I move my head, chest, and neck out. And it comes in, and well, see, now I'm going faster than her. I guess I'm the one. And go. So now give me it at like half speed. I move out. I move out, and I move out. So if she's firing that angle 1, and if it's coming from my neck, my head, or my chin, I'm just bobbing my head back. I am not moving my whole structure back just yet. I could. But what's most important is that I move this. If I move my feet back first, that's not going to help. If I move my stomach back first, that's not going to help. So the first thing I'm going to move in response to a high line technique is my high line. So she throws that, I move out, and we'll talk about where we go with that in a second. The next technique that we're going to have her do is that we're going to have her actually cut with angle 4. We're going to go all the way to angle 4. So can you demonstrate angle 4 to the camera?
Angle 4 is your low line backhand angle. So you're just coming from down to up, from hip to shoulder.
And then you're also going from closed to open position.
And in this case, it's actually more you're aiming for the leg.
She's aiming for my leg. In this case, we're going to talk about aiming for the outside of the leg. The inside's probably the worst target to hit, but this is the easier cut for her to perform. And it's also going to look better on camera for right now. We really know what this target is. So if Abra was to fire her angle 4, my leg was right here, she'd be taking a nice little chunk as she pulls it through. And ow. That comes later. That is important though. So she goes for that nice little chunk, she takes my leg. She goes for that nice little chunk, and she takes my leg. She goes for that nice little chunk, give it a full pivot, and that goes all the way through. So in order to avoid that, obviously my head moving isn't going to do anything. Obviously my tummy moving isn't going to do anything, so I need to move the leg. So what we're going to perform is a leg swing. So Abra pulls that cut, and I swing my leg out. Go even slower, bullet time, and then I'm going to replace it right back, and we'll talk about why in a second. But I move it out, and I replace it back, right back. Now, if you feel like your best option in a situation like this, and again, we're not really teaching real self-defense here, but if you got to talk knife fight logistics, if she throws that cut, and I just step back in and I have no idea what I'm doing, I probably shouldn't step back in. She should throw that cut, and I should go and find something else to like hit with. We'll talk about what we're going to do for this basic technique drilling for now in a moment, but I want to let you know that when it comes to real knife work and real knife fighting, Abra and I have trained with a lot of high-level people. Neither one of us are in, well, you've worked security. I haven't worked security, but neither one of us are in like a real combatives, real world background like police or military or anything. We don't claim to be able to teach that kind of level of self-defense, but we will give you what tips we know. This is mostly attribute development right now, but I do promise you that it does help. It will help you become aware of what you're dealing with and how to deal with it. And it'll cue your body to have automatic responses to things like this, so that your body will not freak out and freeze in a dangerous situation. So it's like that character in every spy movie that like the glass falls off the table and they catch him and they put it back on. You're trying to build up instincts. You're trying to build up quality reactions. So Abra swings for my leg, I kick out and I come back in. Abra swings for my leg, I kick out and I come back in. One more time, she swings for my leg and I come out and I can really go for it. So you gotta check them every once in a while. They gotta actually tag you. With a rubber knife, it's totally safe. Obviously, don't be a jerk, but she tags me one more time, and I move out, and I'm coming right back in. Lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have her target number 5. Number 5 is across the hips, just like it was with the stick. It's just right, cutting across the belly, probably opening up right around the belly button. So when she cuts there, we're in a pretty close distance. I don't wanna feel that, so she's gonna cut it. She's gonna cut it one more time. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to do a belly avoid. So I'm just going to pike out. My toes stay down, my butt goes back. My hands preferably go up in this situation because I don't want to put them down where the path of the knife is. So when she cuts through, I'm just stepping out. This works beautifully in stage combat. It works beautifully in screen combat. It works beautifully in real life. If I'm right here with Abra and she cuts from my tummy, I'm moving out. And I'm pushing myself out, but I'm starting by pushing my butt. I'm getting the target out of the way first. So one more time, she cuts from me and I move out. Let's do all 3 techniques from over here. For angle 1, she's going to cut from my neck. I fade or I bob or I dodge. For number 1, she cuts from my neck. I fade or I fade or I bob or I dodge. One more time. I can also put a hand out. I can put a hand out. If she wants to come at me like that, I can put that there. If something gets cut, at least it's not my neck. Still not a great situation, but we'll talk about it in a second.
But also, I mean, if you're going to talk about knife fighting, chances are
you're going to
get cut.
And if you're not putting that into your choreography, it's very disingenuous knife fighting choreography, but that's a conversation for another day. Forward leg, she's going to cut her angle 4. It can tag right there. I'm going to swing the leg out and put it back. I'm going to swing the leg out and put it back. I'm going to swing the leg out and put it back. Finally, for angle 5, she's going to cut for hip to hip, belly to belly. She goes across. And I pike out. Feet drag, tummy goes back. Tummy goes back, feet drag. Even if she's touching me, I'm at least moving away from the blade. So, for angle 1, now we're going to talk about the counters. You can practice these at home by yourself. You can shadow box them, or if you have a partner, you can play it up. We're finishing up in just 1 second, Brett. Thank you for showing us your time. We know we're going over, but we're giving you a lot of content tonight.
This is also part of the course.
It's very part of the course. So, let's go back to the other side, just because I'm more used to that side. Angle 1 is coming from my neck. I'm bobbing or I'm fading out. As she completes her line, I'm crashing in. So she fires that line, I need to stop her, I'm crashing in. At this point, I throw my punches, I throw my headbutts, I throw my knees, I throw my elbows, I do my Boss Roden impression. Body, 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 don't you ever do that again.
But I'm about to.
Go on YouTube and look up Boss Roden. You'll get it. Viewer discretion advice. So she fires her angle 1, I bob my head back, and I crash in. Even if she takes a little bit of a piece of me, which I do not like, I need to stop her from following up.
Yeah, because I'm now prepped for that angle 2 or that 4.
She's prepped, I can slam her into a wall. This is only if you feel like running isn't going to solve the problem, or if you don't have time to pick up a weapon. Mostly this is for choreography. If you want to take it into real world combatives, you need to play with all those other things that I mentioned and talk about your options. This is not the go-to default. This is an option. This is a thing you can train. We're going to talk about working the same attribute. We're fading out, we're evading, and then we're crashing for our counter to get blade control. She's going to go for the angle 4. I sweep my leg out. I land back in. This one's really great because I'm keeping it all the way out here. If I want to do my little Batman keezy fighting method headbutts, if I want to throw an elbow in there, knees to the body, joint locks, if I want to move her around, I've got all these options. So let's go for that 4 and I'll crash into it. I crash in. Even if she makes it tighter, she doesn't open her arm up all the way, I'm still crashing in and I'm trying to close this line. My arm is coming in and stopping it.
You want to be really wary though because I am pointing it at him. So Pay attention to where the knife is. Pay attention to where you're putting your body. Don't put your body into the knife.
Yeah, so don't, if she fires that cut, we're not saying go into the knife. We're going into the center line. I pull out, I crash in. And I'm throwing my head first. I'm throwing my head first because that's going to cover me if she tries to punch me. I'd rather her hit the top of my head than my face. And that also means I could plow right through her face with my own head.
What you're actually also doing is you're creating this frame when you're coming in.
Oh yeah, the Krav Maga sort of 360 frame, right? So she cuts in, I've got my frame. Yeah, it's Krav Maga, it's Wing Chun, it's FMA. It's there. Lastly, we're going to talk about the angle 5. Not much different. She's cutting across my belly. I hop out. I'm going to push myself back in, and just like the angle 1, I'm going to take control. Again, these could all be really stupid mistakes. They could be. If she's really skilled and she just fires the angle 5, I crash in. Don't do that.
Okay.
She fires the angle 5, I crash in. If she switches to her offhand, she might be able to just start stabbing me with that. We're talking again about this as a choreography thing. If this was real life, I wouldn't like stay here and hold her and try and trip her or push her over or throw her into a wall. I'm probably going to get stabbed. I'm not saying I'm an expert at this stuff. But what I'm saying is that there's this cool sense, at least also choreographically, of expansion, contraction, and crash. Trying to have control of that person. And if you really want to choreograph it, if I pull her over here like this, we've got the knife here in the frame, all of a sudden we can figure something out, I can press there, she might start swinging at me a little bit, and I could like lock her up here. There's just fun options to play with.
Taking down, all of that.
You might not have a partner to play with all this, so excuse us if we're just playing too much.
We're fortunate.
But let's just say this. She fires angle 1, I fade, and I crash. She fires angle 4, I swing my leg, and I crash. She fires angle 5, I pull my tummy out, I do my little pike out, and then I crash. So 1, fade, crash. 4, leg swing, crash. 5, pike, crash. If I was to do that without a partner, if I was just to stand to the side, fade, crash. Leg swing, crash. Pike, crash. I'm just going in and out. So now, if she was to come aggressively at me, 1, 4, 5. So 1, 4, 5, crash. I can do it off of any beat. Or if I just tapped her on each one. 1, 4, 5. Just trying to fill the space. Fun ways to play your games. We're 15 minutes into the Saga CQC. I'm so sorry, Brett. At least it's not 20 minutes. At least we can go twice over time.
We can keep talking about it.
Yeah, we can keep talking. We still have 3 people watching, so one of them's probably me.
Yeah, actually. But those who are here, thank you for staying with us.
Yeah, thank you for staying with us. So that's going to be it for the Saga CQC curriculum for tonight. We'll be chunking this up and putting it onto YouTube in different pieces because apparently this one's super long. But we really just wanted to give you guys a foundation of a lot of the different approaches that we take. Again, I don't purport myself as a real-life combatives instructor. I'm just talking about how you could create some reality-based choreography. I am a high-level Filipino martial arts student under multiple teachers, so is Abra. We've both traveled to the Philippines and studied Filipino martial arts amongst a lot of grandmasters, so we've gotten a great taste for it. In terms of kickboxing, Abra's been doing Muay Thai for the better part of half a decade.
8 years.
8 years, okay, so the better part of a decade.
And a little bit of Savate, but you.
And a little bit of Savate, and I just recently got my white glove in Savate Box Francais with the United States Savate Federation in Chicago under President Roger Lurie and Greg Shanada and Mike Illick, all 3 amazing competitive silver glove saboteurs. And then, we both have a lot of experience in Jeet Kune Do, training under a lot of interesting people. Currently, right now, we're both training under Dr. Brian Stoops in Midtown Manhattan, and also Sifu J.D. Yeager down in Maryland Jeet Kune Do Academy. You should watch his online content as he's putting it out. You should also watch Brian's online content as he's putting it out.
I also believe Sean Stoopman of Silverback Academy is putting out some online content as well in just a different way. He is also quite awesome. His school is in Virginia, and if you were able to check it out, I would say you should do that for Krav Maga and
Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Oh
And
yes,
some
definitely
kickboxing.
jiu-jitsu. And also a Muay Thai shout out for Lubomir. Whose last name?
Sports specific on Instagram.
Yes.
We would love to shout him out. We didn't really go through a lot today, but I would definitely love to shout out Kang Kai Lewis.
Yes.
I believe that's his last name.
Yeah.
It's
it
just
is.
never on Instagram or YouTube, so I always forget. But Kang Kai Lewis, thank you very much with the Pangapar USA. We have a million people we could shout out, and we're probably going to forget a handful of them.
Definitely.
But but the point is that there's a lot of core people that have been a huge influence to Saga Action Arts recently, and we really appreciate them. All of our students, all of our clients. We want to give you guys as much material as we can. An hour-long class is really short for us, so the fact that this is probably now an hour and a half.
That's more like it.
No, it hasn't reached an hour and a half yet. Score! I'm under 90 minutes. I'm under 90 minutes. Okay.
Keep dancing and see what happens.
Under 90 minutes. 90 minutes later. Oh yeah. Okay. See, I've blocked it naturally. Oh, dear God. Anyways, the point is that we really appreciate you guys tuning in and checking us out in our little home, away from our gyms that are usually our homes away from home. We know what it feels like to be kind of cut off from the outside world right now. So we're trying to bring our world into yours, and we really appreciate you sharing yours with us. Tomorrow morning, I should be back on my morning routine. Abra most likely will be doing some version of her online afternoon conditioning program, and hopefully we'll have another class at 7 o'clock at night, and we'll just try and fly through the curriculum a bit faster. But
yeah, we're introducing.
Yeah.
Because some people haven't been doing stuff like this with
we
us.
haven't gotten trained with us, and we want to put it out there for the world. So real quick, we're going to give it like 5 minutes, possibly taking any questions from anybody in the room. I'm bringing up the tablet right here. Let's see here. How are you guys tonight? Why don't you check in and say hi to us? We've got Logan, we've got Becca, we've got, who's watching now? We've got Hannah is watching, so,
Cool.
you know, please just roll call. Who's checking in? Who's watching with us? We're lagging a bit behind, so I gotta watch for a second. Ahmed just joined. JB's been watching. I don't know if he's still in here.
Logan, I've done that too. I actually sometimes do when I can't find my knife. Just use my screwdriver. So I get
Okay. Logan's too lazy to grab his knife, as it were. So who all is in here? Does anybody have any questions or any thoughts or anything they'd like to share before we get going? We're going to stay in until, I would like to say, about maybe 8:20-ish, but probably a little shorter if we don't hear from anybody.
Sorry, Brian.
Brett's losing his life. Logan, do you have a question? Do you have a comment? Do you have a thought? Like, this stream must be like a million hours behind because I'm only now seeing myself dance.
Yeah, seriously, it's laggy. Everybody contact me.
I was particularly finding JKD footwork in the S series. Right, so you're training at Trident Academy now. I don't know if they teach it with the Buji or Bilji to the Nowtech, but yeah, number 5 in the S series is straight from Jeet Kune Do. Number 2 is really a big part of the Cross Nowtech series. So you have your Cross X series, as Brian Stoops calls it. Those are definitely pieces of it for sure. The footwork is definitely occurring also once we start getting into motion. When you're just standing there still, the footwork's kind of neutralized, but as you start moving with a partner, it really starts expressing itself. But here's the cool thing about S-Series. You can express it with JKD energy. You can express it with Savat energy, which is very close, but could be different. You can definitely express it with Muay Thai energy, which we'll go over at some point. If you know karate, you could express it with karate energy.
Even if you don't.
Even if, well, you can express it with Kung Fu energy, and you can even express it with really close quarters Muay Thai energy if you want to do things like your lead elbow to your rear knee.
Yes.
So there's all sorts of options, and that's kind of secret. If you stuck around for the Q&A, you can explore that concept with, you could do it with a weapon system. You could do it with anything, really, but it's just upper body tool to lower body tool, and it's back and forth. And the large reason why I put that in there is because when I got my red glove in Savat, even though I was super happy to get my red glove, one of my biggest criticisms was I was kicking a lot and I was punching a lot, but I wasn't kicking and punching a lot. When I got my white glove, I was told it was a little bit better, but it definitely needs to be even better because Sabat is about chaining those punches and kicks together. And then she's doing her Muay Thai and she's killing me.
No, I'm not.
Let's see who else is coming in. Hi, I'm so glad you guys are doing this. I'm excited since I haven't been able to get to the gym for a couple years now. This is awesome. Thank you, Hannah. We're really happy you're joining us. We always wanted to do something like this, but we were always busy building the in-person curriculum or building the in-person training with the gym, or we just didn't have a place of our own to really work out of, where we could just train and train and train. So now with our new SAGA Studios setup, we're going to be bringing you this content until, I don't want to say the end of time, but until there's no need for us to bring it this way anymore, but maybe we'll just keep doing it anyways, because
people might want that as well.
We're having a bit of fun, aren't we?
I suppose we are.
Yeah, we've been playing with Bilji. Yeah, Bilji or Buji, it depends on who's pronouncing it, Logan. That's the finger darts in Jeet Kune Do. It's also kind of a term, I guess, from Wing Chun. Brian would have to tell me more about that. But yeah, what's really cool about it in Jeet Kune Do is this sense of full body extension. JB Yeager can actually tell you a lot about it. He's really good at it. He's a guy that's about the same height as Abra, not a little bit taller. And he could totally, like, if I was all the way out here, he could totally tag me with his fingertips from a way out there distance. It would mess me up, and then if it was in order to just bait me back like I was doing from the knife, he could totally kick me there. If I was across, and then he could totally kick me in the groin. So, you know, we love JB for his awesome skills. Let's see here, we've got a couple more minutes, see what anybody else has to say. And yeah, I definitely, again, I want to give a lot of credit to JB for that, for handing that down to me. He's definitely the guy that I would say I got my start with Jeet Kune Do under. So,
same.
Yeah, but now I'm getting the really great Inasano Academy curriculum, kind of derived through Brian Stoops' online curriculum and obviously training with him in person. He takes everything that Dan Inasano's ever done that he ever learned and he breaks it down into a process that you can absorb really easily. Anybody can learn Jeet Kune Do under Dr. Sifu Guru Brian Stoops. So make sure you check out his online program. We'll be sharing it on the Saga page probably sometime this week. Any last questions, concerns, or thoughts? We've only got a couple of people left in the chat room, but we want to stick around with you. Because... Stick. Okay, enough of that nonsense. Well, I think that's it. Guys. Everybody out there, people of Facebook land, we're super excited to have brought you into our home.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not that.
We're happy that you spent your time with us.
Yeah, we're thrilled.
Always be sure to check in with us on our Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. It's all Saga Action Arts. You can probably Google it and find out any one of the services. If you want anything in terms of private lessons, virtual lessons online, you can always hit us up. Email is usually the best way to reach out to us. It's training@sagaactionarts.com or sagaactionarts@gmail.com.
Also, if you want to schedule with any specific person,
you
can also reach out to them through email or just for me, Facebook messaging works.
Yeah. Abra, I definitely recommend if you're looking for anything to do with conditioning. I'm down to go through the curriculum. Obviously, Abra can as well. It's all in our own availabilities. I also definitely teach a lot of the MoveNap basics that I got in now, that certification, so a lot of mobility and body awareness training. So with that said, we're glad that we did this thing tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to let Brett get off the stool and chillax for a minute. So 3, 2, 1. Good night, everybody.
Night.